What is up, everybody? It's another week and a little news over the weekend. I'm not sure if you heard, but A.D. Mitchell is leaving the University of Georgia to head to Texas. But some other players have decided that Georgia may just be a decent enough school for them to come back and play for another year. There's some big names and big bodies returning for the University of Georgia in some very...
are bigger of importance as well, Daniel.
Are we gonna? It could be that significant to some. This information will be, and then we're gonna talk about the single strangest Heisman Trophy odds prognostication that either of us have ever seen in our entire lives. Today on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back, Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. We're for fans by fans, but that's it's LinkedIn.
LinkedIn today. More about them in a moment. We got three things. Just right there.
There they are.
Three things to talk about. We have two players coming back who very, very significant on offense and on defense. Mm-hmm. Big news that we will dive into because it's the area in which Kirby emphasizes the most. Hint.
Don't spoil it.
It's the trenches.
Don't spoil it.
And then, yes, the third segment, we'll talk about Heisman odds. And I don't know what's happening over at the Heisman house, but lots of keg stands are probably to do with it.
Yeah.
And before we go any further, I told her, Natalie Britt, Dr. Mom PB on Twitter.
Okay.
Shout out to you. Keep doing your work. Okay?
Keep doing, some would call it the Lord's work.
Some would.
Some would. Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
We don't have music for horrible, awful...
You should be ashamed of yourself. But if we did, we would be queuing that up right now. Mm-hmm. Let me just say, I don't understand how a person would give money to an organization to pay to read the garbage that is put out, like the article that came out over the weekend. So that's all that we need to say about that.
Yeah.
Let me, before we get into Cedric Van Pran and I'm sorry.
Stop giving money to them.
Don't do that.
Don't give money to them.
Instead, give money to us. Before we talk about Cedric Van Pran and Zion Logue, let me say this.
Yes.
Twitter's a dark place. Okay,
it's
it's a pretty terrible place. But Georgia fans, we've said this before, and it still holds true now. When you're on top, people like to take their shots. People like to come at the king. You understand? This is the way it works. You're playing Foursquare. If you're playing Foursquare, and the ball gets hit to you, you're not trying to get that kid out that's in the second square or the third square. You go straight for the king. That's all you care about. All right?
He's the head that wears the crown, y'all.
And people are still, to this moment, very upset about how old Stetson Bennett was when he played this college football season, Clint. It's unfair. It should be illegal.
Yeah.
That he was allowed to play against these children, these young children.
Look, I think isn't that some sort of statutory abuse? Like,
it could be.
Like, please, you cannot punish another team, an 18, 19-year-old. Oh wait, that's men.
Oh no, they're adults.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Let's keep fishing for something else.
People will not just sit back and allow themselves to believe that Stetson Bennett is better than the people that they cheer for. Like, people don't understand what the word better means.
Because it reinvents their narrative, Daniel. They have to admit a few things, and that's they're wrong, and something else is the truth. They can't just say, yeah, he was good and he won national championships.
Plural. Georgia fans, don't Don't fall into the trap. Okay? Don't take the bait. Just sit back and smile.
Sip on something and smile.
Raise a drink, raise a glass, and enjoy the fact that your team is so heavily invested in the minds of other people that they feel the need to talk about your former quarterback now almost a month after his last college football game.
Daniel, a non-former quarterback who is back, and this is big news on every single front that we've ever talked about. It's massive. It's huge. Two of these guys, their names are massive. You know what we're going to do? We're going to tell you the importance of them after this break, Daniel.
Let's do that.
But first, I want to let you know about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a fantastic place to get every single thing that you need for the job that you have. Whatever position you have within your company, LinkedIn is what you need, the tool that you're going to have to get that missing piece right into your company. Small business owners are hiring. You know, success in this year depends on the team members that you surround yourself with.
Ain't that right? Stay tuned for segment 2. Success depends on the team members that you surround yourself with. LinkedIn, it's almost as if they know the content of the episode.
They know what's going on.
Surely it's going to cost me a lot of money to post this job, Clint.
What if I was to tell you that right now you can do it for free, Daniel? Get the right team member to your position.
Interesting.
The culture, the fit, the tenacity, the hardworking nature, all those things get filtered out because they have great tools that go through all the resumes. Right now, 875 million network. The network has blown up. It's not that it's 875 million people worldwide. Get them based upon your job qualifications, all on one platform. Right now, post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's LinkedIn.
Yeah, there it is. Sorry. No, this is my bad. I was jumping all over you. I thought you said it wrong. Lord knows I didn't want you to say it wrong, Clint.
LinkedIn.com/lockedoncollege.
All right. Cedric Van Pran is back for another year, and Zion Logue is back for another year. I've got to be honest with you, Clint.
Okay.
I did not think that there was a prayer that either of these young men were coming back for another year in Athens. Like, none. I'm talking none chance.
We were waiting just for the official. We thought maybe the edits, maybe the guy doing the graphic didn't get back to him. Maybe he was like lost cell reception. He was camping for a while or something. We were just waiting for it to come back. And then all of a sudden, we get news that both these guys said, #unfinished business yet again, run it back, want that three-peat. And they come back to Georgia. And why this is so phenomenal. We talked about on this podcast before, maybe the transfer portal might be somewhere that defensive line is going to be depth for us. Well, it turns out Zion Logue is a massive piece of that. And SVP coming back, Van Pran coming back to anchor, and I mean anchor. I know Mims is all world talented.
Sure.
I get it. The alpha in that room is SVP. Make no mistake about it.
And it solidifies, you had Ratledge and Mims on the right side of that offensive line. Now, of course, they could slide Mims over to left tackle. They might decide to do that. But he played really well at right tackle this year, and a lot of people expect that we might see him there. And if that is the case, you have Ratledge who's fit in really nicely at right guard, and the right side of that line seems great. But the left side of the line, no matter who it ends up being, and it could be any number of names, we're not going to get in and speculate on this particular episode because there'll be many more episodes in which to do that. But no matter who it's going to be some new blood. It's going to be some new names because, some guys are gone, obviously, and so we'll have new guys sliding in over there. But to bring Van Pran back in the middle, to offer some continuity towards that left side of the line, to offer somebody who's making calls, a common voice to bring, to solidify, to really, no pun intended, center that offensive line, it cannot be overstated what a significant get this is for Kirby Smart and the Georgia offense.
I don't think people understand. When you are a talented, athletic young man coming into this, a playbook, especially in Todd Monken's system, especially with Kirby Smart, these gentlemen, Todd Monken, Kirby Smart, not easy men to befriend, to be married to have close relationships. These are detailed perfectionists. Okay,
That's right.
so if you're telling me SVP
Grumpy
comes
men, just
grumpy,
angry men.
very angry,
You
grumpy
wouldn't
men.
even want them near your staff if you were in Tampa Bay.
No.
Why would you ever even consider them?
Anyone.
No.
They don't give gifts at Christmas. As a matter of fact,
They don't celebrate.
I can neither confirm nor deny, but I saw a man who looks like Todd Monken kick over a Salvation Army bucket. That's all I'm gonna say. I can't confirm nor deny. I have no.
He celebrates Festivus because he has so many grievances to air.
So many grievances. Here's what I do know: these guys are detail oriented. They are grumpy old men. They're perfectionists, and to learn the system is very hard. Now, if you're coming into that, and yes, we have guys in the program that have been there, but if you're telling me SVP takes care of all the calls, the protection calls, everything like that, and all you got to do is ball on that left side, it speeds up development by 1,000%.
It absolutely does. Half of football is knowing what to do, and half of football is having the technique and the talent and the athleticism to be able to do what it is that you know that you're meant to do. If you're able to have somebody walking right alongside of you, especially in the case of that left guard, whoever slots in that left guard position, right alongside of you, who's going to make sure that you know what is happening on every play, because he's going to be calling out protections and he's going to be pointing people out and he's going to be pointing at blitzing linebackers and all sorts of things. That piece is covered, and now all of a sudden you just focus on your technique, you focus on your athleticism, and you go out there and play ball. It makes a world of difference, and we're going to talk about the quarterback position in the third segment a little bit, but we're going to have a brand new starting quarterback who's not Stetson Bennett, who doesn't change the play at the line of scrimmage with ease, who doesn't diagnose and read the defense as if, in his sleep, as if it's nothing, as if it's easy to do. And so not only will Cedric Van Pran be huge for this offensive line and the development of this offensive line, but it cannot be overstated how important Cedric Van Pran's return is for Carson Beck and Brock Vandegrift and whoever it is that's under center for the Georgia Bulldogs in the fall. New quarterback and new center is a recipe for disaster. And that's what we thought we were going to have this fall in Athens. But turns out one of those pieces, a significant one, is coming back. I said this to you, Clint, on Friday, but this is the most important offensive player who could have returned to Athens other than Brock Bowers. This is it.
I don't disagree with this at all whatsoever. And if you don't understand, one more time, the anchoring, the complexity of this system, and yes, we have quarterback that we need to figure out. Again, third segment we'll discuss. But receivers, Georgia has rotated receivers in. Daniel did a great job expressing to us the percentage of catches and yards and touchdowns and where production came from. A.D. Mitchell is a great talent.
Sure.
Great talent. But if you're talking replacing on-field production.
Never had a game with more than 4 catches this year.
Okay, that's interesting. But SVP was part of a group that didn't allow any pressures.
Productive, to say the least. And then you go to the other side of the ball and you see Zion Logue coming in. We know what we have in Bear Alexander. We love a guy like Warren Brinson, who I think is really going to emerge next year, and I think you saw some flashes of. We know what we have in the very talented young edge guys that are on this team, Marvin Jones Jr., Michael Williams. This defensive front is poised to be great. But all of the guys that I just named, Michael Williams certainly did play a lot of snaps this year, but all those guys that I just named are relatively green when it comes to college football. Let me tell you a guy who is not green when it comes to playing college football games. Zion Logue been at Georgia longer than Stetson Bennett's been alive, okay?
Which is like 38 years of this.
Which is 52 and a half years this coming January. And so Zion Logue has been at Georgia forever. Yeah. To get a guy like that coming back who decides one more year, I want to run it back. You've said it. You said it at the beginning of the segment. Every year of this run Georgia's been on, Georgia's had guys who have said, you know what? I'm not quite finished in Athens yet. You know what? I know all my buddies are going out to the NFL, but you know what? Christopher Smith, Nolan Smith. You know what? I think I'm just going to come right back for another year.
Now, see, that's interesting that you would reference those guys who came back and now are looking at first-round draft grades.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
That's wild.
And now SVP and Zion Logue sort of become those guys in the trenches. Two very important pieces. Two guys who command the respect of their locker rooms, the offensive and the defensive meeting rooms. These guys are pivotal for the University of Georgia. I maintain that when we look back 25 years from now, that the press conference where Nick and Sony and Lorenzo Carter and who was the fourth guy? Oh, Davin Bellamy, Lorenzo Carter, Nick Chubb, and Sony Michel. When they announced in 2017 that they were coming back to Athens, that's the most important moment, I think, in Georgia football history.
That catapulted the
because everything that's happened now,
yes,
I believe can be tied back to that moment. And we're still seeing the ripple effect. That's why Nick Chubb is maybe the greatest Georgia Bulldog of all time. We're still seeing the ripple effect of a decision like that now today with SVP and Zion Logue. Huge for Georgia.
This is phenomenal. This gives us great encouragement heading into this. We're going to come back after this and let you know about the odds of an odd Heisman right after this.
I see what you did there.
See what I did there, Daniel?
I did. You said odd, but you used it twice. What's that called? Homonym?
Homonym. Look at you. No. Homonym is two separate words in totality that sound similar to
what's
it.
that called? When there's word
Double
is the
entendre.
same. No, that's not it. That's definitely no.
I think
That's
that was
from an episode of Seinfeld.
I was just going to say that was a Seinfeld reference.
Okay, so let's talk about Heisman odds.
Oh my god.
Some Heisman odds released this week, and Brock Vandegrift of Vandegrift Industries is sitting at
imports and exports.
He hasn't done a lot of either, to be honest with you, in his time in Athens.
Oh no, it's just been a desk in a warehouse.
But he's sitting at 13-1 right now to win the Heisman Trophy. Just to be clear,
okay,
that is much, much higher than Carson Beck, the presumed starter next year for Georgia, is. That is the same odds as Quinn Ewers, the starting quarterback at Texas, who is going to have the best receiver in all of college football, Jermaine Burton, A.D. Mitchell, playing for him next year.
Oh, no.
That is higher odds. That is better odds, Clint, than names like Sam Hartman, the former Wake Forest quarterback who's now at Notre Dame. Better odds than Cade Klubnik, the Clemson kid. Better odds than Jaden Daniels from LSU. Better odds. You're never going to believe this, Clint.
Hold on.
You're never going to believe this.
Say more.
Better odds than the soon-to-be greatest college quarterback of all time, Joe Milton, who's going to lead the Tennessee Volunteers to the promised land.
Which, by the way,
Tennessee fans legitimately think Joe Milton is good. That's the best narrative of the offseason, guys. Don't ever lose sight of the fact that Tennessee fans have convinced themselves that Joe Milton is the answer. Oh, that's good. What am I supposed to make of this, Clint? Las Vegas, typically very smart.
They do enjoy quite a bit of money.
They enjoy having it, making it.
Okay. And for them to come out with this, here's what this means. I think first and foremost, they understand the college football landscape. They understand that whatever Brock has in their eyes, which to us, we may say he has athleticism, he has grit, he has toughness, he has arm action, he has what many people still to this day claim a mobile quarterback, which again, I beg you, stop using that term.
It's just a quarterback.
It's just a quarterback now. Congratulations.
That's right. Unless you're Patrick Mahomes, and then you can call it an immobile quarterback because my man literally cannot move.
I don't know what is inside of a mummy once they try to preserve it, but it's shared now with the right ankle of Patrick.
The high ankle sprain of Patrick. That was tough to watch. He was hopping to hand the ball off, Clint.
I can't.
It's tough.
I can't.
That's tough.
Here's what this means. It means that things are wacky. We've seen this before. We've seen the Jamie Newman hype. We've seen the JT Daniels hype. What it means, and this is my biggest takeaway. Forget what everybody else says. The offensive system at UGA gets you noticed everywhere in the world now. That's what it means, Georgia. Now, just for a second, Georgia, fan, let that sink in for a moment. What Todd Monken and Kirby Smart have built has made two, I'm going to go Carson Beck on this, and two unproven quarterbacks. We don't know how they're going to fare in any game right now. It's what gives us a little consternation still about this next year's group. We think this is going to be one of the most talented teams ever at Georgia.
I mean, the bottle is right there, but the bucket is just off camera.
No.
It's just right here.
We don't leave home without it.
No.
So if you're telling me that two unproven, unknown commodities have the same odds as JJ McCarthy, who I'm not saying is a great quarterback, but he's known. He's played. We see him.
Cade Klubnik. Yeah, like guys that we've seen that are really expected to break out, to do something.
It means that Georgia is on a different tier where quarterback at Georgia, that's what this means. The person behind center at Georgia has a good shot at winning Heisman.
That's I will take that. So now let's put on the speculative hats for a moment.
The robes.
Let's fast forward. The robes are coming on.
Okay.
Brock Vandagriff did not transfer yet. I think both of us expected him to transfer.
I thought he was gone.
I mean, I was just come out and say it. I thought I expected Brock Vandagriff to transfer.
Yep.
He still might transfer. But here's what I know now. I know that Brock Vandagriff, whether he's right or not, whether he's just optimistic or whether there's something to this, Brock Vandagriff believes that he has a chance to win this job in the spring during spring practice from Carson Beck. Everyone and their brother assumes that Carson Beck is going to be the starting quarterback. Let me just, Georgia fans, remind you.
Here we go.
If the last few years have taught you anything,
this is a public service announcement happening right now. You're in the middle of it.
It's that you don't know who's going to be the Georgia starting quarterback. And if you got to pick, you'd be dead wrong about who it should be. So listen, just for a moment.
Okay.
Don't become a one of these quarterbacks apologist. I beg you.
If you utter the phrase, well, if Carson Beck doesn't start, that just means we're pissing the season down here.
I beg you.
Stop.
Don't be that guy again. You've already tried it. It didn't work for you.
It turned into Stetson disproving you with 2 national championships.
And then you got all pissy because he was on his cell phone. It didn't work out great the last time.
I forgot
and
about
it's
that,
not
man.
going to work out great this time. Just let the process play itself out however it's going to. But you should be encouraged by the fact that one of the options at quarterback didn't already opt out of the process. He's going to stay and compete for this job in the spring.
Yes.
And after the spring, Georgia fans, one of these quarterbacks will probably transfer. I'm not changing my mind about that. After spring practice, one of these 3 quarterbacks, I hope not 2, but one of these 3 quarterbacks are probably going to transfer.
And again, if you're upset about that, let me just remind you of the other quarterbacks who have left. JT Daniel,
Jamie Newman,
okay. DeJuan Mathis.
and Justin Fields, all of whom have the same number of national championships.
Same number of natties.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But we sitting on them too.
Okay. See how that works? That's math that I like.
It's decent. It's decent enough math. It's fascinating. Brock Vandagriff, good on you for staying.
Yep.
I can't wait to see what this quarterback competition looks like in the spring. Spoiler alert, Kirby's not going to tell you anything. He's not going to tell you who's ahead.
We got a really good group of guys going on here.
He's not going to tell you. You're going to be reading every paid article you can about who's taking first team reps
Why?
Listen,
he came out to yoga stretching.
But it's fine. We're all going to be very interested about what's happening at quarterback at Georgia in the fall. It's going to make for a really fun offseason, and we will be here every single step of the way. Right. We'll also be back tomorrow with a little look back at this season. We're going to go position by position and talk to you about who did what and who outperformed and underperformed some of our expectations tomorrow on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. We'll see y'all then.
See you.